I was away the other day, and I was like, was she getting out of time? She was 12.
Ladies and gentlemen. I can't trade it. They call the gentleman and go. And they call him on and away.
So let's make a l'chaim. Let's make a l'chaim. Is there enough?
Reality is our personal reminder.
Rabbi's oyster napkin.
Oh, that's a good one.
Why, you tried it?
Yeah.
You like
No,
it?
that what I had last time. Basil or
You had the
He likes it, I don't know if I want it.
So you serve yourself.
What is
What happened?
What did he call it?
Wood.
That's not all good.
Down in your car. Dude, actually, this is about it.
Somebody said
I think very is.
no, not you.
Just a little bit, don't wait.
Which is
Not too bad.
Wow.
Dr. Jonathan. So a lot of people say it's a little funny to say l'chaim. Chaim means life. Chaim means to life, right? Chaim means to life. And how do you say l'chaim on a Yohrtzeit? Yohrtzeit is the opposite of life. And l'chaim means to life. So what? So people wonder, how can you say l'chaim? L'chaim is the opposite of l'chaim means to life, and a Yohrtzeit is the opposite of life. So it's sort of oxymoron. But we discussed many times that today's Hayom Yom, and of course we have our marching orders for the Hayom Yom of the day. Today's Hayom Yom says, quotes the Gemara. The Gemara tells us, "Ayitata adam mechaveira, a person should not take leave of their friend, elam tefar halacha, unless they share a word of halacha." So, in other words, to share a Torah, share a Jewish thought. But the Rebbe says, the Rebbe quotes it from the Rebbe that it's not just a Jewish thought. In other words, when you say goodbye to someone, don't just say goodbye, see you later. But say parts with words that make you, that inspire you with the words of a Torah thought. Says the Rebbe that Dvar halacha comes to the word halech. Halech means to move, to walk, to shake, to get going, to not stay in one place. He says, a person should not take leave of their friend unless they inspire them to keep going, inspire them to go further, to be able to climb further. And so, we said the pater also tira, the word in Hebrew we use tira, is the passing of someone. And it's the Jewish terminology we use, not just for a tzaddik, but for any Jewish person. We don't say, we try to use a more refined word, a more able word for passion. We say tira, a person's passing. Tira. And he says, a person should not take leave, a person should not pass away. You have a choice. Unless they inspire others. And so, Rabbi Bryn not just inspired others before he passed away, but keeps on inspiring others every single day. And that's the young of today. That's the marching order of today. Not take leave unless we inspire someone else. And so that's really all about life. Life is all about being inspired to live and to inspire others. And he's still doing it. He's still inspiring. Everybody here is inspired. And so, on a Yohrtzeit, the custom is that we're supposed to talk about the person, the neshama, and not just the neshama, but the body and the deeds of the person's done throughout the lifetime, and the deeds that continue to be done because of them, even after their physical time is short. So l'chaim, the deed will say l'chaim, and I think everybody should share something. Starting with Usher? Starting with Rabbi Bryn's brother, yeah? What's like, do you want to start with Chinese? Or I want to thank Uncle Barry for not just always being there as a sponsor or as first one to sponsor. Anytime someone says something to sponsor, Barry's always the first one there. But besides it, always from days of yore, yeah. From the days
when Rabbi Kiva's year was totally
but not just that, but also arranging every single part of that it should be Chinese, and then who's catering it, that ever is catering it, and first official catering day. Third. First place. Yeah. First place. Catering. Very kind of every Jew 22.
Sometimes it's hard for me to I'll be honest, sometimes it's hard for me to come to sometimes I just feel like I want to do my own space, my own thought. But I really do appreciate the fact that for so many years people get together to talk about this. I really appreciate all of you so much for being here and for continuing to remember my brother, make sure that others remember my brother. Because his life was so special. And today, as I was driving to the cemetery, by the way, whoever dropped off the bricks on the grave, that's nice. That's like a 320 and I'll raise 100. But when I was driving back to the cemetery, I was thinking about something, not about stuff that you know about, but just as a kid, like growing up with my brother. And before most of you knew my brother, in fact, I don't think any of you knew my brother, but when I grew up with him, there's nothing wild or crazy about him. There's always something special. I'm not embarrassed to say that I ran for 8th grade president. I ran a hell of a campaign. It probably gave the best speech. I still came in second place. I was thinking about the fact that kids, even then, certainly today, can be mean. They can be bullied. They look at somebody with thick glasses, they make fun. They look at somebody maybe sickly in some way, they make fun. It never happened. Never happened. Kids loved it. He ran for 8th grade president. Nobody ran against him. It's just a fact that he was going to be president. It was full. The truth of the matter is that there was something that everyone recognized in my brother at the time he was little. This is somebody very special. And the biggest bully would never even think of saying even one cross word. Everybody loved him the time he was little. For his bar mitzvah, they read the Tochacha, Shabbos. The first Shabbos for his bar mitzvah already, the guy that called him up to do Torah for the Aliyah. Why? Because we felt that there's a pure person among us, this is a pure soul among us, and the adults recognize who he was. He was always that kid that everybody loved, everybody respected, and everybody connected. And that's the quality that I think all of you know. Nothing ever changed about it. All these years later, many of you that had really the privilege of knowing my brother still feel his presence in your life. You know what I'm talking about as a child growing up with such a brother that is really the greatest gift. I will tell you that for us, it's very important that he's so present in our lives. Jonathan doesn't know this. He just became a doctor on Thursday. We'll be leaving 2 weeks to go to the Bronx, Kobe Hospital University, medicine physician and residency for 4 years. But I will tell you that my wife would say to me, for every big test I had, you have to go to the cemetery. You have to pray there. You have to pray. I was okay, Brenda, I'm going. And I would go. I would go to the cemetery, I would pray. Please, Hashem, make sure that the answer is Jonathan. Make sure you get the A organic chemistry, whatever it is. I will know the secret. And I will tell you something. This is incredible. Just like he's with us, but he has proven, even now, how present he is. Jonathan was taking his boards. There was a question on the exam, 2 questions about Marfan, just what my brother had. And the question was cast like this. Your patient's uncle has Marfan, and so. What do you do? What do you? That's Jonathan sitting there saying, I was like, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass this test because my uncle, who had Marfan, is literally sitting right next to the jury. So all I'm saying is that we're lucky that we have him in our presence. We're lucky that he's so good in our lives. And we're very lucky to have this opportunity to get together to talk about him. Because we really have to talk about very special. Everybody thinks that's and I just want to say that I'm really the luckiest human being in the world to have had a most special brother, to have a most special brother who continues to bring blessings to our lives, who continues to watch over us in our lives. We know it, we see it so often. And I hope that he is as present for each of you as it is for us. Thanks.
I'd like to hear from Rabbi Dalton. Rabbi Dalton was not only a rabbi and author, but he was Rabbi Bryn's roommate in Morristown.
Oh, you want
Say
to?
hi.
Yes, of course.
One dish? It's not fun.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's all good. So, L'chaim, to the summary of David Ben, what was your father's name? Nachman. David Ben Nachman, son of Maria. In good old Brooklynese, we would say, and Mirzon Kovman Yeshia, we should have Yeshua, salvation, and the Mashiach should come, and David and his wonderful parents, and everyone else should have the resurrection of the dead, which is one of the fundamental teachings of Yiddishkeit. So, my dear friend Barry let me know, reminded me, I should have known, but I was coming down here for several days, and I've never been here on Bryn Yohrtzeit. Mashgocha Prut is divine providence has it that today, I came yesterday, and the day is a Yohrtzeit. That itself, as the story that you just shared, is so wonderful. My uncle, if your uncle had Martins, it's a wonderful story. There's divine providence. And the fact that we're here today to celebrate the Yohrtzeit is not only to reflect on the past, but also the present. How to continue the legacy and the reality of what David stood for and stands for. I just want to share a few small things that I remember from yeshiva. We were together in Morristown, New Jersey, the Rabbinical College of Morristown.
What year?
1981. David, with a group of friends, came from Miami, and we came from Brooklyn, from the Lubavitch Yeshiva. You know, when you're coming from different parts of the world, different parts of the states, everyone brings their culture, background, how they were raised. We were raised in Brooklyn with Lubavitch Rebbe and Lubavitch Chassidim and Lubavitch Shuls, you know, so we were kind of in the box. We were in the box. David and his friends came from Florida. And at that time, Florida was not the Florida of post-COVID, okay? It was still, for us, you know, you went on vacation, the old people went on vacation to Florida. You know, they would say, if you're an AK, I don't have to tell you what that stands for, right? AK? Yeah, if you're an AK, you go to Miami, you know.
47?
What?
47?
Yeah, but you know, young guys, young people, they don't hang out in Florida, you know, unless you want to go to South Beach and you want party, you know, for a few nights and just get your high and go on. Most normal people didn't live down here. That was the attitude of us in Brooklyn, which was of course rude and arrogant. That was the attitude. So here in the yeshiva came along these Bachurim, these students from Miami. So that itself was for us kind of a culture shock. And how are we all going to get together in one base medrash, in one yeshiva study hall? Okay? And I must say, you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't that easy. But there were a few amongst them, and David being one of them, who were a cut above. They didn't allow all of the shtick, all of the nonsense, all the stigma, all of the haughtiness to get in the way. They didn't allow it to happen. You know why? Because they were above it. They really were above it. And in the beginning, it's hard to accept because we were the incumbents. We were the big shots. We were the Lubavitchers. We were the Rebbe's boys. You're going to tell us. You're going to tell us how to be a chassid. You're going to tell us how to be a Chabadnik. You're going to tell us how to be a Lubavitcher. You got to be kidding. Come on. You guys are just, you're babies. What do you know about surfing and about sun? Florida, sun and sin, right? Las Vegas, California, and Florida, sun and sin. That's what you know about. We got 4 seasons. We have snow. We have rain. We have mud. Anyway. And David was someone in yeshiva, really. I observed them, we were together, we were close, relatively speaking, that he didn't allow that to get in the way. In other words, he had all the right to say to me and to my friends, like, hey, don't be an arrogant SOB. Just, who do you think you are? After all, who do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? It's about the character. It's about the midos. Are you refined or are you a big shot? And he didn't do that. He didn't do that because he didn't have to. Because if you observed the way he behaved in yeshiva, in the Beis Medrash, it really was exemplary. It really was refined. I'm telling you. And, I don't, Barry knows, I don't speak that way about many people of my age and my background. We grew up together in yeshiva. We're like buddies. In the frat house for those that went to a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? We're buddies. But he was different. He really was different. He didn't allow himself to give in to the nonsense that was going on. And I think that itself, right away, tells us something about it. Another thing that I think Barry told me when I was writing the book about David, that David loved languages. This is what languages. And anytime he met someone from a different country, he would say, teach me some words in the language. So I asked, why did he do that? Why? Okay, Spanish, English, Yiddish, Hebrew, French, Portuguese, like Ruski, like why? So he explained, he told me, David was a communicator, and David wanted to relate to every person. Knowing a person's language is relating to the person. You don't know their language, you're missing something. So therefore, he worked on, as much words that he can pick up in the various languages of the people that he met was something very, very important to him. And that too points to his Avas Yisrael. Listen, I wasn't here for this, but I was told that there were like 1,000 people at his levaya, at his funeral. And it wasn't just the number of people, which most rabbis don't have 1,000 people. Most known rabbis of big congregations. It was the quality of people and the different kinds of people. Hasidim, Litvaks, non-Jews, ponytails, bald heads, men, women, everyone was there. For those that were there, just reflect back. Guys on the motorcycles, you know what I mean? With the hard what? Bikers with the hard leather and stuff like that. Oh, everyone was there. Why? What drew them? Because he really loved a Yid. He loved a person. He loved a Gentile too. He really loved them. I'm telling you, I did over 50 interviews. I spoke to so many people, and that was the one thing that everyone said was his love for people Non-judgmentalism. And that's another point I want to speak about for a second. It's very hard to be non-judgmental. It's very hard. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a difficult thing. Why? Because we all have our way of thinking and our way of listening, and not to be judgmental. Oh, he looks this way, she looks this way, he comes this way. You know, there's a famous saying. They say like this: "Kiba apam harbu ish." It's from the Torah in Genesis, right? With Levi, Shimon and Levi, the children of Jacob. Kibi apam, with their anger, they got angry. Harbu ish. They killed people. That's the literal meaning of the verse. There's a saying, a verse. Kibi apam. In Hebrew, an af. This means a nose. Kibi apam. Sometimes with your nose, hargu ish. You can kill a person. Imagine you're having a conversation, and someone says about it, he so and so, right? Says something, and you don't say anything, but all you do is you twist your nose. You go like, you know, you make this facial remark with your nose. Kibi apam hargu ish. You killed that person. You slandered him or her. You spoke. You belittled them. You embarrassed them. But I didn't say anything. You said more than you could have said because you moved your nose in the wrong direction, making garbage out of the person. Right? David was a person who the apam hargu ish was expressed in his non-judgmentalism. And you know, when you speak about a pure soul, you mentioned a pure soul. Your brother was a pure soul. He was a pure soul. Man. And that is very difficult to find. And when you find a pure soul, when you find a pure soul, grab him, hug him, kiss him, be next to him, learn from him. Because how many people have a pure soul? And I don't mean just a pure soul, a good person, a pure soul means non-judgmental. And it's so hard in our world not to be judgmental. You know, a little tiny judgment, just a bisale, as we say in Yiddish, a drop, tzat, mashu. David didn't have it. And finally, you know, in yeshiva, we did not know that he had this condition, Marfan's. We didn't really know. What happened was, this was in the dining room, 1414 President Street. Those from Rhode Heights who went to Lubavitch Yeshiva know what I'm talking about. He was together. We were having lunch, I believe, and during lunch, I think there was soup in front of him and another friend, and he fell down and he was taken to the hospital. That's when we found out. I think he had an aneurysm at the time. I think, I'm not sure, but he didn't let it stop. Now, again. You know, don't have to, I don't want to go into, you know, and I don't know, and I really don't want to know, but he had a lot of operations, many operations, too many operations. And how his body was able to tolerate it was unbelievable. You know that I asked his doctor, I forget his name, it's in the book, an Italian, a world expert, I think Usher was at NYU, I forget which hospital was at, but I forget the name of the doctor now. And I asked him, I interviewed David's doctor. The main doctor was a world's expert on Marfan's. And I said, doctor, would you say the fact that he lived 40 years, he passed away at age 40, was a miracle? That was my question to a doctor. You're becoming a doctor. You are a doctor, sorry. You are a doctor. I take that back. You are a doctor. So medical science, right? Would you say that David getting 40 years out of his body was a miracle? And he said to me, Rabbi, he said, I can't say it's a miracle, but I say it's unheard of. All the years, someone with his condition on that level to get 40 years after so many operations and so many near-death calls, and he survived over and over, it's unheard of. That's what he told me. David's stamina, his determination, his perseverance for life was gewaltig, was wonderful, it was rich, it was contagious, it really was. He was a happy person, knowing that he has this illness and how ill he is, he fought till the end. And that for us is also a lesson. With Mashiach, with everything. But Mashiach, where is Mashiach already? Mashiach, where are you? You tell me where you are? October 7th wasn't enough? No, we need another, God forbid. What is going on here? We had a Holocaust. And now on October 7th, and on and on and on. My friends, don't lose faith. David didn't lose faith. Not one day of his life. And at the end, till the end, he was a fighter. He believed. We have to believe. Not give up. Hashem will definitely grant us that Mashiach will come, and David and everyone else, David and Nachman will have an aliyah, and I want to recognize that Moshe Kidman, who was a successor and apprentice, and now the rabbi, who's really doing the emes what David did and wants to do. He's living out. So, gracias to you, Moshe, for doing this. Barry, for you, Mamish, Barry Steiner is Mamish, a chassid of David's. I'm not saying this because I have to make him feel good, you know. He really, so dedicated to David's vision and to everything that David stands for. Barry is 100% there. Out of, I think, all the people, and I met again, I interviewed so many of his congregants and people. Barry, you're number one. You're number one. So Hashem should give you, Barry, koyach, and Usher, you and your family, and Brenda and everyone else, Yiddish nachas, the children and grandchildren, and success and happiness, and Hashem, the building is going up, and I want to encourage everyone. This isn't a fundraising pitch, but everyone should do whatever they can to bring as many people to fund the building, to put up the building, to buy rooms and dedications. It's mamish, and Moshe was able to do this, and it's really gewaldig for Hashem, and David's, I'm convinced, would be jumping for joy to see the continuation of what he started and how it's continuing. So please, Rabbi Say, there are people that are not here that that we need to let know about the building, and you should definitely do that and encourage them. It's a once in a lifetime type of thing. You buy a room, you buy a dedication, you have it for yourself, your family, and knowing that Moshe and David, Usher, Barry, all these people are behind it. You're in good company, and we should see it and celebrate the opening of the new building, the car of Mamish, very speedily. Amen. By
the way, Rabbi Dalton, who wrote the book about Bryn, about Bryn, he has the books here. So anyone who wants to purchase a book, you can speak to Rabbi Dalton. Also, anyone who wants to, in his honor, you can make it for anybody else, but mentally, in Rabbi Bryn's honor, you can buy a square foot of the new building. So how much is a square foot again? $180? $180. And you have a permanent square foot of that.
Got your foot in the building.
I can't tell you which one, but I'd like to talk a little bit about Rabbi Bryn because how special he really was. And I think the biggest
Those two
thing
back.
that one of his gifts, I wish I had this gift. Not only he really didn't get angry at people, I've never seen him angry. I saw one time we were together and he yelled at somebody. And I was so happy. I thought I caught him. And I said, aha! I see that you got angry, you lost it like everybody else. And all of a sudden he turned around and he starts laughing. He's not angry. He says, I'm not angry, but sometimes you have to tell somebody in a way that they understand it. And he never got angry. His mother, Mrs. Bryn, the story used about her and her husband, but she said to me how people would come to the funeral and say, excuse me, I just have to tell you, Rabbi Bryn, we were best friends. And she's thinking, best friend? I don't even know who you are. I certainly hope I would know his best friend. But that's how he made everybody feel. And when he went, he was the type of guy that he could go to the flea market. And this guy is the type of guy who's working the flea market that when you shake hands, you better encounter hands. And he would look at this guy and he'd say, Itzy, I'm making up the name, he'd say, Itzy, you don't know how beautiful your soul is. You don't know it, but I can see it with my eyes. And he would just elevate somebody that even if you were a bad person, you want to be a better person because he just make you feel better. And I remember one time to him, he's always helping people. One day he had these crummy shoes on, and I said to him, listen, you're going around and try to ask me, have a nice pair of shoes. I'll give you money for shoes. So I gave him money, and I'm feeling good about myself. And the next day, he's wearing his old shoes. I said, what happened? I gave you money. I know, but there was an electrician, and he needed money. Electrician, to make more money than lawyers. So anyway, but I will share something that's kind of very, very personal. Like it really goes to how really special Rabbi Bryn was, because Rabbi Kiva is going to tell you that if you're exotic and you have certain ways of doing things, so when you pass on and your body separates from the soul, that actually you become more powerful. That your soul actually can do more things than when you were in your physical body. And I'm going to share something that's kind of personal, but at least you know it. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth. So many, many, many years ago, I was married. My wife had some issues. We got divorced. And she disappeared. She didn't want anybody to know anything, where she was, what was happening with her. And I always felt bad. And I was always wondering how she is, what's going on. And I always had this thing that maybe now that I'm more mature, maybe we can get back together. Maybe I could handle her better, in a better way. I think I've grown. This is what I thought. This was not now. It was many years ago.
You're the only one.
But this is what I thought. Well, anyway, what happened is somebody's grandfather passed away. And he came to me, I didn't know him, and he says, can you help make a minion? And I'm thinking, make a minion for the funeral. And I had been in trial all week. I'm exhausted. It was just Yom Kippur right then. But it's important to make a minion for a little bias. So I said, well, where is it? He says, oh, Mount Sinai, on the beach. I said, okay, you know what? I could skip lunch and make the funeral because it's that important to make sure somebody can say Kaddish. So I go there and I find out it's the same cemetery where Rabbi Bryn is buried. But now, usually I go, I put a stone, a few minutes, but now I got all the time to get some ready to have this funeral. So I go over there and I start to talk to Rabbi Bryn. And I'm talking to him, and then I remember he's Rabbi Bryn, but there's only one Hashem. If you're going to pray, you need to pray to Hashem. I can ask Rabbi Bryn to put in a good word for me. So I start to pray to Hashem, and I say, I would like to get closure. I like to get closure and clarity so that I can move on with my life and maybe meet somebody and get married. This is what I would really like to do. And then I figured my sense of humor to myself. I said, Hashem, if you're really listening, I don't know if you are, but if you're really listening, I want you to know to give David credit. Because here's people, after he passed on, and they're still helping and doing, and all because of Rabbi Bryn. I said, look at me, for instance, here I am. I didn't even know the person who died. And I'm here to help Levi, because this is what I did for Rabbi Bryn. I said, look, Hashem, you know me. I'm not a religious guy. I'm not a guy that davens all the time. I'm not a guy that can sing. But you need a right-hand man. You need somebody to drive you here, drive you there, show up for a million, show up for this. I was Rabbi Bryn's right-hand man. So I said, in fact, don't even give me the aliyah. Don't even give me an aliyah or whatever for what I'm doing. Give it to Rabbi Bryn. His soul should be elevated even higher. And I'm kind of laughing to myself, I haven't spoken to my wife at that time for 12 years. For 12 years. She wanted to start a new life in New York, and she didn't want anything from the past. So the funeral's over. Now imagine this. The funeral's over. I have not even left the cemetery yet. I'm driving out, and my friend calls me on the phone. He says, you're not going to guess who called you. I said, who? It was your former wife. 12 years. They said, she called you? What did she want? She wanted your telephone. So I didn't want to give it to her. I said that I would give her number to you, and if you want to call her, you can call her. So now I just asked, and I'm at the cemetery, didn't even leave it yet. And a wife who didn't call me for 12 years has disappeared calls me. Is that a coincidence? So I'm thinking, should I call her? What should I do? So I get to my office, and I'm still thinking. And all of a sudden the phone rings, and I pick up the phone. I said, well, don't you recognize your former wife's voice? I said, oh, how are you? How's everything, And she told me that she had gotten married. And she told me she has 2 kids. And then she told me that her husband had left. And then she said, it was 3 years ago. And I always like to connect. I said, I said, I'm really sorry. But I said, I wish you would have called me, 3 years ago. I've been happy to say hello. And all of a sudden her voice changes. And she says, I don't want to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. And I'm shocked. I'm very angry. I don't want to talk to you. So I said, well, the thing is, you did call me. She says, yes, but it was against my will. And I go, against your will? What do you mean? She says, I don't know what happened, but an hour ago, where was I an hour ago? She said, something came into my head. And I said, you need to call Barry. And I said, I don't want to call Barry. You need to call. I don't want to go. You need to call him. And the voice wouldn't get out of my head. And I had to give you a message. He said, okay. What's the message? And I was fell on the floor. She said, the message is that you need to get closure and clarity. Just the words I actually said at the grave. Nobody, I didn't tell my friend. I didn't tell anybody. She repeated the exact words. You need to get closure and clarity and move on with your life. Now, is that coincidence when someone calls you and they don't want to speak to you and they don't want to talk to you, but they call you anyway? So that was a real situation.
I don't want to talk to them.
And I was afraid to go back to the grave for several months. It didn't happen, but I did eventually go back. But the thing about Rabbi Bryn, I want to tell you that my fondest memories, one time we had to go to Usher's house. He said, "Can you take me to Usher?" I said, "Sure, I'm happy to do that." So with my sense of humor, he used to have it, a guy driving around Fort Barrow. And Barrow had a Camaro, it was his thing. So I couldn't help it, and I said to him, tell me the truth. Who's a better show for me or Barrow? And when I said that, I cut off a Hollywood police car. And he goes, "Do you really want me to answer that?" And when the guy was angry, he came up, but once he saw Rabbi Bryn, I didn't get a ticket. So thank you, Rabbi Bryn, for saving me on my insurance. But the other thing I remember, Rabbi Bryn, that was funny, there used to be, well, in Jerusalem, the restaurant in North Miami Beach was there a long time. And one day I walk into the pizza. Take a second look. Here's Rabbi Bryn sitting there. And there's a bunch of gang kids. I'm not talking about yeshiva kids. I'm not even talking about second. I'm talking about gang kids. Tough kids. And he's sitting in the middle of them. So how are you, Rabbi Bryn? So I pull him aside and I said, "Rabbi Bryn, what are you doing?"
What?
And he says, "No," he says, "these kids, they need help. And so what I do is, if they don't get arrested and they stay out of trouble, every week I give them free pizza." That's the truth. And one time in another restaurant, it was a funny story, was, he was very tall. He was big, red, and he had this big hat, So anyway, we're sitting there and we're having something to eat, and my friend's kids come in. And the funny thing, I said, "Kids, imagine this. They was it base in North Miami Beach, base. What? Base Honda. Base Yaakov. We're Base Yaakov girls. She's 16. Now she's like almost 50. Okay. But she came in, she goes to me, hugs me, Uncle Barry, how you doing? And her friend is with her, and she sees travel. So she goes, "Oh, how much more?" And the friend goes, "You?" The friend looks at me, she goes, "Are you a rabbi too?" I thought Bryn was going to fall off his chair because he's a rabbi from the Reformed synagogue. But the sense of humor, the other thing he did that I have to say is really funny, being a lawyer, that's not funny, but being a lawyer, maybe that is funny. I did want to do stand-up. But anyway, I do personal injury work and I do criminal work, serious work. And one day I'm at my house and we have a gated community. You have to call and come in. And I hear like this. Who would be knocking on my door? It's not going to call. And I open the door. Imagine how you would feel. And there's a guy in a chauffeur's uniform. The chauffeur's uniform. He goes, "Are you Mr. Snyder?" And I said, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Well, my boss wants to talk with you." So where's your boss? It's over there. He points away. I go out of my door, and there's this black limousine. And he wants you to get in the limousine. I said, "There's no way I'm getting in that limousine." And the door opens up, and it's Rabbi Bryn, and he's got a Purim costume on. He goes, "L'chaim! L'chaim!" And he was going around doing l'chaim to everybody in the limousine. I thought that was I have to clean this up, but first time, Rabbi calls me up. He says, Barry, he says, I'm going to clean it up. So he says to me, I want you to go to a Farbrengen. So I said, what? He says, a Farbrengen. I said, Farbrengen? What is a Farbrengen? He says, you know what? Come to me on that. So, okay. So we go to this little house, and I'm surrounded by these guys, black beard, black hats, black coats. I'm like a fly in a glass of milk. You know what I mean? Very, very weird. And I'm sitting there, and each rabbi gets up speaking, and a couple of guys got drunk in the back. And while the rabbi's speaking, there are people talking. And one guy gets up drunk, and he goes, "Can't you shut up?" And I was like, wow. And Rabbi Bryn goes, I told you it was a Farbrengen. But that was his sense of humor, you know, constantly, the love he had for his brother. It was tremendous. I can't remember who it was, somebody met, and they said, "I'm sure it's his brother." I can't believe it, because when he plays basketball, they don't seem alike, you know? And he used to love my dogs. I had dogs, and he loved it. But one of the nicest things to share, and then I'm going to let other people talk. I know Doc is here, and the other doctor is here. But one of the things that really, really was interesting was when he passed away, we were sitting Shiva. And Mrs. Bryn, by the way, she was a terrific woman. She did more for the Russian people than the Jewish Federation. And we had a Seder of 200 people in Russia. Remember that she did everything, put it all together. But anyway, she was sitting Shiva, and this handsome kid, 30, now he's a kid, 30 years old, in a suit, comes up to Mrs. Bryn. And he says, you know, Mrs. Bryn, I just want you to know that I'm very sorry about your loss. You know, your son was a great person. And she said, thank you. And she said, how do you know him? I know you. She says, you don't remember me? He says, you threw me out of the shul. She looks fine. I didn't throw you out. You threw me out of the shul. Never threw you out of the shul. You threw me out of the shul. You were screaming at me. She says, why? I didn't look like this, and I wasn't big, but I was 6 feet. I had purple hair, I had a couple of earrings, and I was skateboarding on the shul. He said, what person skateboards in a shul? This is a time to get out, get out. And David pulled me aside and said, don't listen to her, that's not. Skate the shul, like you come to shul all the time. And he said, I never forgot that, and I always admired David, gave me the glory, you know. And so that was my understanding of David. And the last thing I'll say is, I have a beautiful silver Kiddush cup that I value, that he gave me. And on the Kiddush cup it says, friends forever. And we are. So,
It's interesting, I was saying about making me a cemetery. So Mayor and me went to the cemetery this morning after Esther died. Isaac was there already. Wasn't enough people. We did have a minyan here. I figured we did Kaddish and Shul. Anyway, but when I got out of the car, I see someone on the other side of the cemetery flagging me down. I knew who he is. But we have a language barrier. He started speaking to me in Spanish, and I had no idea what he was saying. But anyways, there was another Yohrtzeit taking place, and there was another event taking place in Missouri. When we put it all together, we made a minyan for them. We made a minyan in 4 places. Four minions for college. We had a minion for college over there. More than 16-year-old kid, yeah. So we made 4 minions. Came from 184. So speak up a little louder. Yeah,
Doc, I can't hear you. Say l'chaim, maybe.
Okay, let him. Yeah, so I've been in this area, I guess 32 years, and really Rabbi Bryn, I think, changed my life, my family's life. Back then, whoever was around back then, there wasn't the aperture that we have now. But there were really no major tools around. Some that were like not our liking.
Excuse me.
I first met Rabbi Bryn here at the California Club area, and we were doing the Shana, already by the golf course, I believe. And he was just so at ease with everyone. I mean, there were all kinds of people there, from South America, Americans. He was at ease with everyone. That really made me want to feel comfortable. In a way, I think of getting you to come closer, to Yiddishkeit. And I think my main legacy, I believe, is that he sort of encouraged me after more than 30 years to learn and do my bar mitzvah parsha, which I did. I think I was 48 years old when I redid it, and he encouraged me to study and learn it. And I remember, unfortunately, that Shabbos I think he was not well. I mean, he was recuperating home, but after that, what can I say? Learning more. I learn as much as I can. Mondays, Thursdays, sometimes Shabbos. I think it's all due to Rabbi Bryn. Without him, So his legacy lives on.
I really didn't have anything there, but about whatever you want to say. Rabbi, you know that all these stories weren't something that happened once in a while. Rabbi Bryn was like 24/7. It was always something. Right? It was always something. I remember being off of cemetery at San Barrel, Anybody that learned to Rabbi Bryn, you know that the barrel of now in a good place with you, Father, and when you know Beryl and I help people, special one, I think this is like actually here at the see what's today is kind of practical. So what would you tell? Well,
I'm listening to you.
Thank you. Right now, but I promise you we hope people that all the time. And I could see from Beryl, right, at the Rabbi Bryn in the middle, Beryl sector. Yeah. So I could see somebody running. They were so far away, I couldn't even see who it was. But as they got closer, it was a woman used to come with her mother. Getting closer and closer, right up to the place. Is this Rabbi Bryn? I said, yeah, that's Rabbi Bryn. I said, Rabbi Bryn, I never met you, but I had to come to you today because Beryl always told me how special you are. So, I mean, and it's deal, Rabbi Bryn at work, even there. Yeah, I'm going to send somebody over that. Really, there's so many stories, but they happen all the time. Even when I used to the first time that, but the first time I actually he called me, I had a wrong number, and Simeon, and that didn't even, stop him from moving forward. He was collecting, at a first class, and he called the next student's daughter coming to my class. I turned you up the wrong number. She said, wait, I recognize your voice. Because they knew him, knew his father. But, so he said, when are you coming to my show? Never, I don't go. But God is turning in my so, I think the first time I went, it was a party. Now they have prizes, and I won. The Rabbi Bryn, what did I win? I have no idea. Right up front, something for you. And he came out with a couple of pictures from the finals. I did 2 pictures. Picked one, and I picked it over dedication. I went home and I noticed my wife. Not a single time, but people good. How about Friday night dinner? Friday night dinner. Stories. There was one time when we were across from we moved around to this place, and the mall was an indoor mall. So, one time there was a couple walks in, and apparently Rabbi Bryn knew nobody had been coming up a long time to get that at the restaurant. So he said, you know what, we just finished we said to them, would you like to join us for dinner? We just have dinner, we hadn't made it. They said, Rabbi Bryn, you don't understand, we're not here. We have tickets to the movie. So he said to them, well, tell you what time does the movie start? Whatever the may be, they said 8:30. So we said, well, it's only 8 o'clock. Why don't you stay for kids? It'll take a couple minutes. And at least have a nice glass of wine. Think of how much better the movie's.
It was one of the best things. You remember? I don't know if you remember this or not. So he was getting married, and You know, for a husband to get married, it's a very big thing. It's a very serious thing. You study and you prepare and you get married. But if you're in Latin America, it's a little different. Then you go out and party as far as you can before you make your wedding vows, like a bachelor. So, because we had a bunch of Latin guys in shul, South America, they go, we're gonna make you a bachelor. I'm like, no, don't do it. No, we're getting married. We're getting married. We're gonna make you a bachelor. So comes Shabbos, and we have Shalashis. And we're sitting there in Shalashis, and all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, Rabbi, we got you, girl. We got you. He's like, these are joking. And all of a sudden, you gotta picture this. This girl comes out, she's going, ooh, and Rabbi Bryn Yohrtzeit, he was going crazy. And all of a sudden she says, no, I'm yours for the night. And she starts touching him. And he's going crazy. And he looks down because he's so crazy, doesn't want to look at it. He looks down. And all of a sudden she has these terrible hairy legs. And it was Billy Nachman dressed up like a girl. And so he turns around to the guys and he says, okay, guys, if you want to give me a girl, okay, but why such a mistype? Why such an ugly girl?
Isaac, there's a show you with.
I knew the rabbi very little. I knew two families from the club that was a b'tshuva, thanks to Rabbi Bryn. Most important, my son was in Hillel school, and unfortunately, very, very few kids came from family there. But when they went to Rabbi Bryn, I think most of the Yiddishkeit that they got was from him, not from the school. And the way, what impressed me about him is the way he related with the children, and how much they loved him, and how much they waited for every occasion, to be with them. And as probably most of you know, that the Rebbe called him the tzaddik of Miami. And I don't think the Rebbe would use such a word lightly. So in our mind, and my son's mind, he's always the tzaddik of Miami. Beautiful.
Isaac.
Thank you. I have to go, but I want to say something.
Go for it, good.
Just to give you an example of how different our shul is in David's spirit. I did meet David one time. He asked my husband to come to California, but we were just opening up. We just happened to be my husband is the Rebbe's horse trainer, and he wanted my husband to bring and tell stories to the crowd. So I want to speak about this shul because we've only been here, I've been here a year yet. And I remember the first time I came here, it was a mincha time. And I came in with a friend just to see what it was like. And I told my friend, because I lived in Crown Heights for close to 20 years, and I was a 770 person, looking for that atmosphere again. And I said, I think it was, a little tiny place with only a few men here, bringing in women to see my friend. There's something about this place. I said, it has a very special atmosphere. I said, it feels so much like 770 to me, And lo and behold, we ended up renting an apartment in this neighborhood and coming to this shul. And I just have to tell you that I remember sometimes in 770, we would always have a lot of local shops. Sometimes there would be different people's Yohrtzeits, and I would kind of know from the Yohrtzeit of the person a little bit about that neshama, right? Because some would be loaded with all these things. Wow. And sometimes it would be, a little more modest, whatever. But I know you had something today. You had something like a breakfast or something, I heard. And now you have this, and all the people speaking and everything. And I say to myself, now I know why this shul is so good, and why you, Rabbi, came in. Why? I mean, we have not just a Friday night kiddush. We have a Shabbos day kiddush. We have a Yom Tov night, Yom Tov day. I mean, you can come here and you can enjoy so easily being a Jew, and keeping Torah and keeping the mitzvahs. And I think that's what David was all about. It wasn't about himself. He was about inspiring everyone else. right? Getting you to be the best person that you can be. And that's the greatest thing that you can do for a person that you've known that's a great neshama like that, is to be an example yourself, right? And for you to be one of those kind of people that reaches out to others. And I want to encourage you to support this shul, because this is an amazing place to come. It's one of the few places. I have some relatives that are not so much interested yet in Yiddishkeit, although they started using some words lately, and two of them started lighting candles, and they never even told me. But they actually, to show you just the strength of Neshama, and that he drew Moshe and his wife to this place, knowing that they would be vessels to make such an environment, create such a thing. My relatives actually came there the night of Simchas Torah, the night before. Anyway, and I thought they'd come, they'd eat outside, and there was a terrible rain. The food kind of got soaked. They weren't interested in getting food at all. There's a lot of food, good food. They were like mesmerized in the spirit of the shul. Because even the little shul, right? And it was not, but there was such a ruach here, right? I'm used to the ruach of 770, so you sound very spoiled. So for me to be excited about the ruach of Torah, it says so. So I just want to give a pitch for the rabbi and for his wife, because they're building a big building here. They can influence so many more people. I mean, the building is going to go up because we're going to the ship to show sooner than soon. But in the meanwhile, we have to do whatever we can do, right? So I just want to encourage you to know that this is a little place, but they say there's things that little things sometimes are. I think one of the rabbis said about, who was it? Rabbi Rashab, the Marash, had a small wife or something. His wife was small, and the little ones are like a big tree or something. Anyway, there's something about small things that have a very good blessing, right? So I just want to encourage you, this small thing needs to grow, because a lot more people can come in and take part in this blessing. So thank you, Rabbi, for allowing me to say it to you.
Bryn says that content double.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Dav was speaking before about Rabbi Bryn's character. So usually the parsha that the Yohrtzeit falls in is usually about after that's what we read that Shabbos right after David passed away. That Shabbos we read after Moichan. This year it's an Emor, and tonight the portion is about counting the Eimer. Tonight's function is about counting the Eimer, counting the Spirit's Eimer, and the Spirit's Eimer that Rabbi Yohrtzeit is the 21st day of the Eimer, and we were learning over here. The past weeks we're learning about how we define our character based on each day's counting of the Eimer, each day what it represents. And this 21st day of the Eimer, we complete the week of Tiferes. Tiferes is beautiful, beauty. Tiferes is after you have chesed, kindness on one hand. After you have a full week of gvura, strictness, you have a full week of Tiferes, a full week of beauty. And David is when we culminate the whole week of beauty, he represented, I think what it represents is completing the character trait of beauty, a beautiful character trait, character of Tiferes. Actually tonight, the night after, and tonight we start again tested Shebenetzah, kindness within winning. He won kindness. He was Netzach is drive to win, the victory, and he was definitely he personified kindness. He had victory within kindness, and but he completed beauty. He was a beautiful person in every way of beauty, every single facet of beauty. And tonight he also said, if you look at the Ana B'Chayak, which was also gave that during the counting. Remember, tonight is Barchem, which means to bless. So, first of all, I think everybody that's here is blessed already. Somehow connected to the president is already blessed. But I think God is also giving extra blessings. So whoever it takes, maybe he's next, and everyone is getting a bracha, giving a bracha, and a bracha from the tzaddik is not a light bracha. So everyone should have more blessings.
By the way, I just want to show you, this is the book that Rabbi Dolphin did. It's here, and anyone who wants to purchase it, it's a great book. About Rabbi Bryn. So,
Benny,
everybody.
Benny, did I interview you with the book? I don't remember. Did I interview you? I think I did. I think I definitely called you. I don't know if you don't remember. Okay.
No, thank you. He's out.
As a motion.
So I came to Miami when I was 21. I finished the army, and I landed in California. And for me, Israel, you have a shul, synagogue. You go, it's a building, it's a standalone building. And one of my, the one who actually he also passed away, unfortunately, he introduced me to my wife. He said, there's a little shul over here. Why don't you go? I came from England. I was in England, Golden Green. I was very religious. When I came to Miami, I ended up before I came to California, I was in Davie. No Jewish, no synagogue, nothing. So I was looking for somewhere where I could, continue. So yeah, that's where I landed in California and Clam after a couple of years. Then I started going to the synagogue. And Rabbi Bryn every morning. And before we didn't have cell phones, we had like those dialing phones. We used to call. Every morning he called me, and I'm sure he called other people. We need a minyan. And I fell asleep. He called me after 10 minutes more. Within a minyan. So I used to go and pray. I think I learned most of the prayer from the rabbi, all the tuning. I would say I was helping him a lot. Every time we had to build a sukkah, I was the one. I was from Israel. I had an old car. I used to put all the wood inside, collect leaves, and then build a sukkah. I used to help him with like Baomer, like we did in Israel, like big fire. I think because of me, they don't allow you to do fires anymore. One time we did it in a place, and we almost burned the whole building because I used to bring a lot of wood.
Were you here last year?
We had it was so high, we had to, what was it, 5 trucks and a helicopter. The house was on fire.
Helicopters came last year.
We were told that to turn down.
And I thought, and I'm sure everybody thought, and Barry told us about it on his on the Shiva. Barry stood up and he said, I want to tell you something. Rabbi Bryn loved somebody, I don't remember exact word, but he said he gave his love to somebody, and I thought it was me, and I was about to stand up. But Rabbi Bryn made every individual, every person that he loved him the most, that he's his best friend. He had that something, and I thought it was me. When Barry said it's everyone, I said, wait a second, what I'm missing here, But he made every single person that he's his best friend. He loves him the most out of everybody. He's the most important person in the world. That's what he made me feel, and he made Rabbi. You knew that secret. Yeah, Barry knew that secret. And one way I said, I'm going to stand up. Now it's me. He's going to talk about me. He said it very nice. I don't remember the exact word. but then that was Robert Bryn. It's very special. His eyes and he's like, so big and present. He had a present in the room, There's so many good things about him. I used to get advice from him, I used to work for somebody and leave the job because it's very hard. He always found a way, relax, calm me down, stay. And I stayed in that job for almost 15 years because of the Rav. And I don't think I made a mistake. I think he guided me the right way until I moved on. There was a lot of things with the rabbi, but the highlight of my life with the rabbi is, we spoke about it. It's funny that I spoke with my wife about it. When he invited us to his home for Shabbat dinner with his wife, he was so happy. Everything was, he wanted, like, serving us. He's a rabbi. I'm not supposed to serve me and to take care of me. But he wanted to. He welcomed me to his home and to the shul. Same thing. It's like Avraham Avinu. You felt that you're the most important thing. In that moment. And nothing else matters. He made you feel.
Million.
And I don't know how to tell you. Yeah, more than that. Million is nothing.
It's a saying.
You're the center of the universe.
Unbelievable. He had that. And you know what? I used to love going to there. And I think me being, I'm born a Jew, and but me being and connecting to Chabad, to it's him. It's really him, and I still not, for many years it's very hard for me to replace. Very hard, but it's very hard. It is something that I cannot explain. I cannot. This is, and I feel his spirit all the time around me, and I always think about not and I guide. He guides me a lot in life with my wife, with my kids, and with my kid just texts me, "Where are you?" And I said, "Yeah, Farbrengen, Rabbi Bryn. Do I know him?" I said, "I don't know. You were 2 years old." I remember him. She was crawling in the shul, and all my kids were crawling in the shul. But when I talk about him, I'm very happy. It makes you. There's something was in him that I cannot explain. You gotta feel him. So if you knew him, you were very lucky. If not, maybe read the book and see. Maybe the book will help you to understand. But
watch a video.
Watch it. I have a picture of him. I have those pictures of Lag BaOmer. We even put this in the newspaper, in the Israeli newspaper. I have it at home. But I have a couple of pictures with him. Anyway, he was a really amazing person. It was not just a rabbi; it was a person. It was like, a person. You could talk to him. I was a little kid, and he was like, and I could talk to him. I could tell him whatever I want. He always had the answer. And I asked the rabbi, "When do you have time for me?" Remember, all the rabbis, not just him. You have to help with this, and I'm sure donation, and I'm sure this had a problem. This is a problem. Me on your head. He found the time for everybody. He had time for every single person. And remember, we didn't have cell phones at that time. Everything was a phone, or you have to do it in person.
With a beeper.
Huh?
With a beeper.
The beeper. I think he beeped us also at the beginning, for the show. I think so. I really, but I know he, anyway, but Neshama, stay always in heaven.
He had a great sense of humor. I remember I was, I don't know, you probably don't know about beepers, but there's a delay with a beeper, and he had a yeshiva worker that came to see him, and he says, "Oh, I see you have a beeper. Can I see it?" So the guy gives him a beeper, and he put this in the back, and he falls in the school, and he comes back out, and it's with the guy like this, young kid, and he's talking to him, and the beeper goes off. He says, "Then I answered the important." So the kid looks at the numbers. I don't know the numbers. Get a call, it could be very important. So he calls and it's the woman's mikveh. And he goes, why would the woman's mikveh be calling you? He says, I don't know. And I played a joke on the kid. He always was doing funny jokes.
When I was in my apartment, I had a realtor showing me around Cedar Glen. And we got up to an apartment on the fourth floor. And he said, this is a really quiet building. My daughter has an apartment in this building, and everything's quiet except Friday night. And the apartment was like diagonal to Rabbi Bryn's window. Except on Friday night, from that apartment over there, everybody's singing, making a racket Friday night.
The funny thing, I used to have a sheet that I stayed on Friday in the summer, it's late, and sometimes 11, 12, So I didn't want to bother the kids, they sleep late, they like to sleep late. So they come to shul about 11 o'clock. And what happened? Whatever. He says, I was at your house last night. You weren't at the house last night. So it'd be like 12 o'clock at night. No, I couldn't sleep, but I took a walk and I was by your house. I said, you go by my house? Yeah, I was going to go in. I wasn't sure. And I see this light emanating from your living room. And I thought you and the kids. He said, this must be the light of Zohar. And I said, no, you just left the TV set on.
Right, it's bringing that you're not going to have a Bradley house.
Yeah, I would like to talk about them too. If you guys don't mind, because, if it wasn't for, Rabbi Bryn, I would not have come back. I would not have tried to do about shooting. When I first met him, my father, would be one of the congregants. My father told me to go in. The first time I met him was in his office. He counseled me occasionally. And I grew up secular, in Brooklyn. And, I first went to, Allendale. I was first Vermont. Second Vermont. I went to first one was 77. But, I said, Rabbi, I live in Hollywood. Closer shul is 3 miles. Second one is yours. So what do you think I should do? He said, come. I have to drive. Well, he said that later on. But, I said, are you sure? I got to drive. He said, come. Sure enough, after people want.
So we had to do one. We were doing. No, they drove in the building.
People drove by.
They had driving. The voice.
Anyway, you don't know. So, even though I like it, I got to be nice on
I wanted to take a picture.
Anyway, so you guys go on in, talking to
Like I talk a little about it and look at the crowd, not at the place.
Mix up with a long flight in the States. So I came, and it was one of the best experiences I ever had. And I was like, even where I mean, the first time I ever ate in the sukkah was by Rabbi Bryn. I mean, this was something, it blew my mind. Here I am. I've never done that before. It was probably one of the greatest experiences I ever had until I came to Rabbi Kiefling's sukkah. So, well, actually, no, she took this. The bar, this is the best. And that's why I like Keegan, obviously, because he was just a newcomer coming in. Like Keegan developed it. One of my favorite questions I've ever answered was, Rabbi, Rabbi Bryn said, I know this is a short prayer after you leave. Can you tell me what it is? And it was like, you could tell he wasn't really in the mood to answer the question, so he said, like this. Robert goes, go, thanks for the growth. So, that was Rabbi Bryn. You know, we had our good times, and you know, I know I have said it, so I apologize to Rabbi Bryn for the one or two times I have said, hope you forgive me. Even his father, his mother, you know, great people. You know, they wrote books and they were victims of the Holocaust. They escaped the Holocaust. Thank you for this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Back to everybody. Shabbos music.